let's move on to our play-in tournament predictions in the Western Conference. Uh, Definitely going to be a little bit more interesting to see who gets left out in the West, because in the East we were really only deciding between the Bulls and the Wizards on who got that 10 seed and who fell. There's three teams on the outside looking in who could make a legitimate push right now, who are all either tied for the 10 seed or only a half game back. Those being OKC, the Lakers, and Portland after their win tonight over Detroit. So we'll start with you. Who do you have making the play-in tournament in the Western Conference?
You should start with me. I didn't. I think you cut out like when you said.
Oh, did I? Okay.
It cut out right on the name. I didn't know what you said.
Right.
Okay, I said Gabe. You can give it a start.
Okay. Dude, that is hilarious because we really got so sidetracked, and I don't even know how we got there. I didn't even realize we hadn't talked about the West.
Philly, man.
Really, they really just something about them, man. So, all right, let me cook up this scenario for you guys. All right. So, recently, there's some teams that things have not been going so well for. Among these teams are the Pelicans and the Jazz. Me, personally, I am going to predict some absolute chaos to happen in this conference. And I think that the 9 and the 10 seed is going to be Portland and LA. Because while Portland should have no confidence from me, while Portland has not been a good team this season, and while Portland has continued to be right around mediocre, even with Damian Lillard averaging 40 points per game, at the same time, the Pelicans at one point this season were a 1 seed. At one point this season, the Jazz were actually a 1 seed. And Brandon Ingram and Lauri Markkanen are both very good players. However, the Jazz were once a 1 seed, and where are they at now? Almost out of the play-in. Did we think that they could still be a playoff team this season? We did. At this point in the season, after they gave away several of their most prominent and impactful players to the Lakers, I just don't think they have the firepower. AD's been playing really well, even with LeBron out. The Lakers supporting cast has stepped up, done decent. They even just won a game with D'Lo and LeBron out, I think. That's a good sign. I think they can do some really good stuff, and I think the fact that they're now tied for the 10 seed, I think Anthony Davis does have enough in him to get in over the Jazz, and I do think that Damian Lillard on this insane stretch has enough to also get in over the Jazz. Then you might be saying, oh, but the Pelicans have literally been so much better all season. They have a really deep team. They just have not been able to win games well without Zion. They have not been the same team at all. They were a great team, and then they just kind of fell off. They just have been consistently just a losing team since Zion's went out, and the fact that it seems like we never know when he's going to come back. We never really know what his status is. I don't see this team holding on, man. They've continued to fall. They've continued to fall. Now they're only a half game above the rest of these teams. At that point, they have not shown me anything post Zion actually playing basketball to tell me that they're a better team. And so in that case, I'm going to predict the chaos. I'm going to say somehow the NBA is going to rig it to where we get the stars in the playoffs. And we're going to see that 9-10 game. It's going to be between Damian Lillard and LeBron. You know what's going to happen in that game?
Thing goes for 60.
Portland's going to win. Portland's going to win.
I like it.
One game, Damian Lillard masterclass, this 40-point barrage he's been going on, 70 points in a game. Call me crazy, but that's going to be the biggest pack watch for Lakers fans in a while. And there's been a lot of those recently, but I'm predicting chaos. And so what's going to happen then? The Mavericks are going to play the Clippers because neither of these teams can win a game, but both of these teams managed to stay above 500. So I do think they're going to stay where they're at. When it comes time for this game, this is a series that we've seen several times, and now the Mavericks have acquired Kyrie Irving. However, at the same time, they've lost all of their defense, and even though the Clippers I just gave a giant rant on, and are literally league average 16th in defense this year. That's still better than the defense that the Mavericks have been playing recently. So, like, at the end of the day, you're probably going to get like 70, 80 points combined from Kyrie and Luka. But give me the Clippers. So give me the Clippers to face the second seed in first round. Clippers win the first playing game. And so then that brings me down to the Mavericks versus Damian Lillard. And I'm saying Damian Lillard on purpose because it just seems to be him out there. And so at this point, you may be asking me, hey, can you get the fuck on with it already? Who is winning the game? The Mavericks will take care of it handily because you better bet your ass Luka Doncic is not missing the playoffs. So, to recap, my final 7 seed will be the Clippers, and my final 8 seed will be the Mavericks, with the Blazers beating the Lakers in the 9-10 game.
They might not miss the playoffs either, though, man. That they just might be going back and forth until game ones are getting ready to start. That's tough.
That's true, man. They might be in 100 overtimes.
They might. All right, let's go to the obvious team, man. Until you brought it up, Gabe, I forgot Utah was a 1 seed for like a week. Like they were actually a 1 seed.
It was like 3 weeks, bro. They were a 1 seed for a minute.
They kept like jumping back and forth, but they were a 1 seed for a decent amount of the early season. Like I forgot that even happened. The Jazz overachieved this season. They're not making the play-in. The teams behind them, too many heavy hitters. The Jazz have made moves to where we're like, okay, we see why they're falling off. They traded away a lot of their quality talent. And like we mentioned earlier, Chris Dunn's playing minutes for them. He's playing good minutes, but he's playing minutes for them. So it's like, obviously, they don't really care about winning because they made all those moves to do so. So Jazz obviously out, right? The 2 teams below them, I'm very worried about New Orleans. I really am. I love this team so much, but I'm so worried. 13 of their last 17 games are against teams that have something to play for. With the worst team I think they're playing against is OKC, and I think they have a game or 2 against them. But we know OKC, they're kind of in that race too. Like they're not too far. I think they're a half game back, so they're right there as well. So that's another team that I'm even kind of considering. It's tough. Since we don't know if Zion's even going to be back, I had to say that they fall out, man. Even though they got BI and CJ still playing, they're just such a different team without Zion, and we've seen that on display this season. When he was there playing early on, he was playing some of the best basketball of really any forward in the league, and they were a 1 seed at that time. Now, the West was a little congested still at the top, but they were a 1 seed at that time when Zion was healthy. Without BI and CJ in the rotation, they were a 1 seed with just him playing out there. So with the uncertainty of him being back anytime soon, I have to say that they fall out, especially with their schedule being so tough on the back half of the season. And I'm with Gabe. I think Portland and the Lakers jump up. Even though LeBron's being reevaluated in, I think, a couple weeks, AD's been playing really good basketball lately. Like he's back to that form where he was early on in the season before he missed a big chunk. He's been playing really good. And they just brought in so many quality players that just play their role. We all said Laker fans will fall in love with Vanderbilt. He's been amazing for them. So I think even if like Bron misses some time, if D'Lo comes back or not anytime soon, I think they got enough to just stay afloat, win more games in the competition ahead of them, except maybe Portland. But I think that they'll get in. It'll be a 9-10 matchup. That 9-10 matchup is gonna be so good, man. It's gonna be so good.
Bro. You know you want to do it, bro. And there's no reason why you should.
It's
LA
like
is
Dame.
the team here.
I don't know. I mean, I guess after the trades, Dame can win a game, but we know LeBron James is the best elimination game player of all time. It's just really a question of how healthy is LeBron going to be. I don't know. Like if right now with the uncertainty, I'm gonna push for Portland because I know Dame can win a game. Dame can win a game, and I'm expecting them to be in Portland too. The way I'm picturing it, 9-10, it'll be in Portland. I'm expecting Dame to go ballistic, win a game because we know Dame can do that. We know Bron can do it too, but is he going to be fully healthy? I don't know. And 7-8, I think Dallas is going to jump Minnesota. Minnesota's been so shaky, up and down. I don't know what to expect from them. I think they'll be back in the play-in like they were last season. And we're going to get a rematch, not the one that Gabe was talking about, but we're going to get an old-fashioned play-in rematch between the Timberwolves and the Clippers. Who would I take in this match? I don't know. 2 teams that frustrate me. Minnesota for obvious reasons. I think I'm gonna take as much shit as we just talked about the Clippers. I think I'll take them because Kawhi wasn't there last year. He'll be there this year. Kawhi's one of the best playoff players, elimination game players we've seen. So I'll take the Clippers. And as far as that second matchup, Dame can definitely win the game. I can see Minnesota missing the playoffs. Like, that's kind of how I feel. But I think Minnesota will probably get that. That's a lot to ask Dame to go back-to-back. You see how I'm saying Dame too? Because this is Dame against the Timberwolves. That would be a lot to ask Dame to go back-to-back ballistic games and win or go home situations. So I think Minnesota will get the 8th seed. I don't love it, but that's just how we are. 1 seed to 8 seed. That's just how preseason predictions go, man.
Hey, at least they'd still be in the playoffs, so that's worth something.
And they could probably beat Denver the way that we be talking about them.
Hey,
I mean, look,
I don't know. Maybe not beat them.
If those are the 7 and 8 seeds, and I'm looking at the Western Conference as of today, I don't think I feel confident in saying any first-round matchup is a gimme for anyone. So that's just the nature of the West.
I'll go down and throw some crazy parlays down.
Pick all the lower seeds to win.
Oh, I'm picking Clippers against Nuggets any day of the week, bro.
I guess.
If we get to a playoff predictions episode and you say, "Oh, it's the Clippers in the 8th seed versus the Nuggets," be ready for Clippers in 7, and I stand on that. If it gets to that point,
7, man.
If it gets to that point and we're making those predictions,
that is a revenge series because the bubble was not kind, man. The bubble was not kind.
For real. That would be a crazy series. Man, there's no way to pick these teams and feel like I'm doing it right. Someone, if not 2, if not 3 teams are missing out that probably deserve to at least be in the play-in. It's tough. It's really tough out west this year. Utah, I have fallen out as well. Like you guys mentioned, you touched on it. They moved off their guys. They finally bought into the direction that we expected from day one. They've more than overachieved this year. There's no shame in them falling out of the play-in tournament, and in fact, it's probably better for them long term. So I have them dropping out. Then it gets tough because you guys made great points for Dame. You guys made great points for the Lakers. And I wanted to think about OKC here too, and I just can't quite believe in them enough, even though I'm really going to believe in them next year, and I have some nasty narratives I'm going to push for them this offseason. We're not there yet. I don't think they make it either. I think the Pelicans stay in. The Pelicans are my 10 seed, and as much as they've struggled, I really like the way the BI's been playing lately, and I still believe enough in this team as a whole that I think they're going to do enough to stay in above one of the Trailblazers or the Lakers because of the fact they have that depth and they have more than just one star guy, which, if the hinting didn't allude to enough, is the reason why I don't have Portland in this play-in tournament, because as much as I love how well Dame has been playing and as great as he has been, I don't know if Dame by himself is going to be enough for them to carry them the rest of the way. He's been so good. If he can do it, fair play to him, and he deserves a hell of credit just for getting them there, even if they don't make the playoffs. I just don't know if he's going to be able to sustain this for this level for this long. And I'm not expecting a significant drop-off, but he's been outrageous the last month to month and a half, and I just don't know if he can get that for another month and a bit. If he can do it, like I said, full credit to him. I just don't think it's going to happen. My 9 seed ends up being the Clippers. I think they're going to slip a little bit more. I think they're going to fall down to the 9 seed. We've talked about it a lot this episode, but I'm just not buying into what they have there right now from a roster construction standpoint and how they're playing on a night-to-night basis. The names are there. The top-end talent is there, but I'm just not buying in. I think they're going to continue slipping a little bit more, and I think they're going to fall down to the 9 seed. I'm fully bought in on the Lakers. I have them up to the 8 seed. And like you guys alluded to, AD has been great. He's been playing really good basketball since LeBron's been out. Most importantly, their defense has been really, really good. Now, a big part of that has been AD. A big part of that has been Jared Vanderbilt, too. And them as a duo in the front court has been very, very good together. And if they can continue to keep that up, which, I mean, those guys are reputationally two very good defenders, I don't see why that's not going to continue. Them leading your front court is going to lead to having a very good defense, and I think that's going to help them win a few more games down the stretch where even if they have bad offensive nights, they're going to be able to pick up some wins down the stretch where Portland, when Dame even only drops 25, might not be able to do such a thing. Same thing with Utah. If Laurie only drops 20, they're going to struggle a little bit more. The Lakers, I can rely on still picking up a couple of wins down the stretch, even with some not great offensive nights because of that good defense. So I think they're going to move on up to the 8 seed. And I have Dallas as my 7 seed. I think the Timberwolves are going to hold off just enough. The Mike Conley trade's doing well for them. Rudy's playing his best ball of the year, especially in the offensive end. McDaniels continues to be a key part of their defense as he continues to play well. And I think they have just enough to stay above the Mavericks because the Mavericks might have the names, but I don't really trust their consistency right now, even though Luka and Kyrie individually have been playing well. The team I don't trust enough to consider anything more than a 7 seed. For my 9-10 matchup, Pelicans and the Clippers. I mean, if Zion's back, they might have a chance, but without Zion, there's no shot. I got to give that to Kawhi because, as you guys mentioned, Kawhi is just that guy come playoff time. As a Raptors fan, I know all about that and how dominant he can be. So there's no doubt for me he will win that 9-10 matchup. For the Lakers and the Mavericks, I mean, you're talking about a great defensive team against a team that ain't going to stop nothing, but they might go drop 130 if Luka or Kyrie can get going enough. I got to take that offensive duo because of the question mark around LeBron's health, so I think Dallas do end up being the 7 seed. Moving on, then.
Finally get it. Battle of LA, huh?
They do get the Battle of LA. Not where most people would have expected to see the Battle of LA when these teams were formed. But here we are in the play-in tournament fighting for the 8 seed. And Kawhi might be that guy, but I trust the Lakers defense a little bit more than the current roster construction of the Clippers and how they've been playing. I'd give the Lakers the 8 seed. And I think the Clippers would get bounced again in the play-in tournament. And Lord knows what that would do for the Clippers come this offseason. But I don't think they get in as things currently stand. Even with LeBron not healthy, I think the Lakers would bounce them regardless of how healthy he may or may not be come the postseason.
Even though the Clippers have beaten the Lakers like 10 straight times?
Got to beat them eventually.
That's true. That is true.
The script's got to flip eventually.
Okay.
If that's the script, I would not hate it.
The Lakers fan on the podcast, man. Okay.
That would be the most watched. Who's a Laker fan?
Hey, I'm just a fan of good defense, especially come playoff time, and that we know. That's for sure.
Now they got good defense again, and now it's
all you got to do is add Vanderbilt, and all of a sudden you're up on their rankings.
Bought in.
What I love the most, we all had different matchups. Like nothing was really that much the same. Like I feel like everybody had a different, if not teams, different orders.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that's the Western Conference summed up this year. There's just a big mess of teams fighting for seeds every night, and they're flipping up and down every night. And things are starting to become a little bit more clear in terms of tiers. But pretty much all year, for the most part, it's been a really tough Western Conference to truly understand and figure out how good are some of these teams actually. It's been a really tough year for that.
I will say
I was really hoping. Go ahead.
You can go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was really hoping somebody would have Dallas fall out just because I thought that would be hilarious. But
Kyrie's
I was not going to be the one to commit to it.
That offense can just be too good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a world where they become a 9 or a 10 seed. And I'd find it hard to imagine that even as bad as that defense is, there's no way Luka and Kyrie don't have at least out of 1 or 2 nights have a good enough offensive performance to stay in the playoffs. There's no way.
Yeah, I will. Little caveat: the Warriors have 10 road games left. They play more on the road than they do at home at the end of the season. They've only won 7 road games. So, just saying, there's a possibility they could find themselves in the play-in if they don't tighten up on the road. They have one more road win than I think Houston and San Antonio, which is like, whoa, that's insane because those are the two worst teams by far in the Western Conference. So I'm just putting it out there. The Warriors could find themselves fighting the last couple of days of the regular season to sustain themselves in the top 6. I'm just saying.
It is very much a possibility, which is pretty crazy, but the Western Conference is crazy right now. So
it's funny because I felt like they started playing better on the road, and I checked their record. They're 7-24.
nah.
That is god
Well,
awful.
and the thing is it is better, but it's still bad. It's just not horrific like it was up until the end of December.
I think every team that's in play-in contention has at least double-digit road wins, at least.
Yes, the only teams with single-digit road wins are the Hornets, Pistons, Spurs, and Rockets. That is it. Even OKC have 11. The Jazz and Pelicans also have 11. The next lowest is 14 for the Trailblazers and the Timberwolves. Other than the Grizzlies, actually, with 12. They have very much struggled on the road this year as well.
And Portland
Them
went through
being
a
out
stretch where they
fives.
lost like 10 straight on the road. Like, that's crazy.
The fact that the Warriors are a 5 seed despite having 7 road wins is just crazy because, yeah, they've played more at home, but it's only 3 more home games than road games. So, like, even so, the fact that they have 7 road wins and are currently a 5 seed just shows
Don't they
that,
got 27 home wins?
yeah. So people do not come to San Francisco and win. Like, this team is hoping on everything and I don't know I don't really think there's a path for them, but they're hoping on everything they can just bump up one more seed because if they get home court, they would be hard to take down. But like,
I think they're relying on we got to get one road win. Like, they just have to. Like,
Yeah.
they're relying on they got to steal one on the road early on in the series because, man,
Yeah,
7
they're
wins,
gonna-
that's abysmal, bro.